welcome. Today we're joined by a couple of people here. We're just going to introduce ourselves. So the session today is focusing on the engineering and computer science programs that we offer here at ASU London. I am Anoksha Singh. I am the student recruitment officer here at ASU London, and I will hand it over to Lee if you'd like to just introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. My name's Lee Rowland. I am the Student Recruitment Admissions and Outreach Manager at ASU London, and I'll be speaking to you a little bit later about application process and scholarships.
Hey, Peter, if you can just have you.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you may be. My name's Peter Kay. I'm Associate Dean for Academic Engagement and Partnerships at ASU London. And I'm looking forward to telling you about the programmes that we offer here.
Thank you, Peter. And Melly, if we can have you turn on your camera and just introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Melly. I'm a third year student on the BEng Global Design Engineering program. I'm also a senior student ambassador, and I'll be joining this webinar and hopefully answering any questions you may have from a student point of view.
Thank you, Melly. And Fred, if we can have you just introduce yourself as well.
Yes, my name is Fred Johnson. I'm one of the directors at Arizona State University in the US. So I'll be talking to you a little bit about the difference and why you should consider Arizona State in the US as well.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody. So just before we begin, if you have any questions, feel free to pop it on the chat. We're going to have some time towards the end to answer all of that. Let's just dive right into it. So before we begin the session, I just wanted to clarify certain terminology that we use here in the UK that you might not be familiar with. So A-levels are essentially the secondary school qualification that we have here in the UK. So for those of you who are here, you're familiar with that, but it's essentially the equivalent of your high school diploma for our US audiences. And a course program, that's essentially the degree that we offer or the area of study that you're looking at. So say BEng Global Design Engineering, that's the course or the program that ASU London offers. Modules, these are the unit of studies on a particular subject. So these would be within your program. So certain modules that are listed within your program, you can see that on our website as well. That's what we refer to as modules. Term block, this is essentially what you call semester in a lot of other countries. So out here in the UK, we call them term or blocks. Assessment, marking, this is essentially how students are graded or how we review their assessments is basically our academics use that terminology. Honors degree, that is equivalent to the UK 3-year bachelor's degree that we have here. So in the UK, the undergraduate degree is for 3 years, not 4 years. Academic professors, these are your teachers or your instructors. Entry requirements, these are essentially the admission requirements for a particular program. UCAS, that is the UK's centralized application system, similar to Common App for US audiences. And timetable, that's your weekly schedule of how you will be taught, or the teaching schedule, essentially. All right, so we'll go right into it. I'm going to hand it over to Peter, who's going to give a little brief introduction about ASU London and then dive into the programs that we offer here. Peter, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so we are now ASU London. And for those of you who perhaps been following us for some time, we were previously known as Teddy London, but obviously we've changed our name. We now have a very good collaboration with Arizona State University. And one of the unique things about this partnership is not only will you be able to study in the UK and get a UK bachelor's programme, but then also you'll be able to transition onto some of the pathways that we've agreed with Arizona State University, and do a 1 year's master's in the US as well. So it'll be 2 separate degrees. The 3-year bachelor's in the UK from us, and then the 1 year masters in the US. And just to be very clear, we are ASU London is a UK registered higher education institute. We're regulated by the UK. We're not regulated by the US. We are separate entities, but we obviously work very closely together. But what this partnership does allow us is to say the fact that you can do your bachelor's, and then if you want to go and do the master's in the US, you can, and it gives you fabulous opportunity to study in 2 different learning environments, have connections with both industry in the UK and the US, and obviously the alumni networks both in the UK and the US. It's a fabulous opportunity should you choose to take that master's route. The other exciting thing we're announcing is we're teaching currently at Canada Water location, but from September this year, we will be renting space at City St George's Islington campus. So we're moving a bit further into central London. It's a fabulous location, quite vibrant part of the city. Have access to some of the facilities through City St George's, so their libraries, their gyms, their student services, etc. But we do have our own dedicated space. It is ours, and we're in the process of kitting it out, the labs and the maker spaces and the classrooms, and trying to bring the latest technology into those spaces so that it helps informs our teaching and gives access to you as potential students as well. A bit more on our courses. So we have a nice portfolio of programs here now at ASU London. So we offer business and management as well, which I know you haven't signed up to here to talk about today, but just to let you know, and there is a talk after this should you want to join that. But we'll be focusing today on the computer science bachelor's degree, and also the range of engineering programs that we have. And I won't go into them here. I'll go into them in more detail when we come to the slides for each of those. But I think one thing that's really important to state is, before we get into a bit more of the detail on the content of those programs, or sorry, an overview of those programs, is just to set out what it's going to be like to study at ASU London. So our approach to teaching is a little different to some other universities and higher education institutes. So we really do treat our students as professionals in training. So we really believe that your career starts when you join us, not when you leave us. And that's reflected in the way that we teach. So if you come and see our campus, you won't see any lecture theatres. Our spaces, we've got maker spaces, we've got collaborative group working spaces. We've tried to align it as closely as we can with the industries and the sectors that you'll be going into. And as I say, we teach in that way. So we don't just make up some problems for you to solve. We get real world case studies, real world problems, industry problems, give those to our students, and you learn the content for your program, obviously in an engineering or computer science sector, through solving those problems. Global responsibility, sorry, just go back one. Global responsibility is a very important thread throughout all of our programs. We are part of a global community. The world is facing shared problems, for example, climate change, and we all need to solve it together. So this runs very strong through all of our programs. And as I sort of mentioned there, with the way that we teach in terms of its project based and the way that we treat our students, there's a strong focus on ensuring our graduates can be as employable as they can. So when they do leave us, they can go into the world of work, easily find a job and make a difference. And that approach is not just in our teaching, but also extends to our assessment and also our admissions as well. So we have a very inclusive assessment sort of strategy. We have very few, if any, exams now in our courses. We don't believe that that's a good way of assessing people, just through that mode of assessment. So we have a range of assessments, from presentations, portfolios, reports, making artifacts, websites, etc. Really trying to assess our students in the way that they would be demonstrating that knowledge, again, in the world of work, again, linking it back to employability skills as well. We have, as I just said, a very inclusive admissions policy. For example, on the engineering programs, quite uniquely, we don't ask for a maths A level, which some people find surprising. It's not because we don't think the maths isn't important. Of course it is. You wouldn't be able to do computer science or an engineering program without maths. But what we're saying is that just because you don't happen to have that maths A-level qualification doesn't mean that you can't be a good engineer. Okay, so you still need to have some level of numeracy, and whatever route you've taken to get to us, we will scaffold. We've got a dedicated maths tutor who provides scaffolding maths support throughout the first year and beyond, to ensure that all of our students, including those that have done A-levels as well, if you have done A-level maths, get to where they need to be so they can be successful on our programs. We also have the opportunity to study abroad as well, either at Arizona State University and also with University of New South Wales in Sydney. Okay, so I'll talk a bit more about the programs in detail. There's a lot of information on these slides, and also if you click on the link to our website and go to each of the course pages, there is a little description about each of these modules on the web page as well. So I'd encourage you to do that for the program that you're interested in, because I'm not going to go through this in detail because there's quite a lot to get through, and I want to leave as much time as I can at the end for questions. So I'm just going to kind of draw out some of the high level selling points, or unique points for each of these programs that I think you'll find interesting. So in terms of computer science, again, it's the reason we've offered this program is there is a need for programmers. That's very clear from the UK strategy and also the skills design skills profile that's put out by World Economic Forum. So there's a desire for computer scientists in the futures. And the program that we've designed here, as you would expect, starts off with quite fundamental concepts around computer science fundamentals, data structures, etc. Starts building through software engineering, machine learning. Obviously, AI is becoming more and more ubiquitous, and this is now certainly becomes another common thread throughout all of our programs. But what's nice is when you get into the third year of this program, you can then choose a pathway or a specialism, if you like, that you may want to choose depending on which sector you want to go into or which industry you want to go into. So we have three that you could do from computer science. So the first 2 years are common, so you don't need to make your decision early on. You can make it towards the end of year 2. And so there's concentration around software development, concentration around cybersecurity, and a concentration around big data. So again, 3 real big growth areas. And then if you go into those, that will again enhance your employability in those areas. So before I go on to talk about the other programs, I just want to highlight, so the 3 modules at the top. So within each of our programs, yes, we have the technical content, whether it be computer science or engineering, but being a computer scientist, being an engineer, being a business leader, you need to have professional skills. And in all of our programs, we have what we call a professional backbone that runs through it. So there's modules in each year where you'll be learning about leadership, teamwork, how to do research projects, how to manage your time, etc., etc. So those 3 modules at the top, so engineering, leadership and impact, research and innovation, and your engineering individual project. That's the main backbone that runs through all these programs and will allow you to develop and enhance your professional skills within your chosen discipline. So what can you do once you've done that bachelor's? If you wish to go and do a master's at Arizona State University, we have these 4 pathways open to you right now, and this list we're working on growing this list as well. So you can go on and do MS Computer Science, Big Data Systems, Cybersecurity, Software Engineering, and Computer Science. And what's really neat about this is these masters will only take you 1 year compared to the usual 2 years that these masters would do. And that's because we've carefully aligned the bachelor's program with the undergraduate degree at Arizona State University to ensure that when the students go on to do these masters, they can actually do it in 1 year. Okay, so subject to some thresholds, you can transition quite easily from the bachelor's in the UK onto this 1 year masters at Arizona State University. I mentioned employability and graduate jobs as we've been going through, and these are some of the jobs that you can go into from studying computer science. So there's a range of different sectors and roles that you could go into. I'm going to talk about the engineering ones now. So global design engineering, the best way I think to describe this program is it's a fairly general engineering program, but it has sort of strains of civil engineering in there. So you can see modules on design for construction and smart cities, they're in there. And it also has a flavour of product design. So you can see in there's modules on prototyping, there's modules on, there's portfolio modules, and also Living Lab, which is where students go away and design something. So as I say, it's a general engineering program with those nice flavours in it. This is a program that's been running the longest at ASU London. And if you transition through this degree is accredited with the Institute of Engineering and Technology. As soon as we're eligible to apply for accreditation for the other programs, we will do so as well. That we just need to wait till those programs are eligible. And again, you can see that at the end you have the final individual project. We also offer a Masters of Engineering, an integrated Masters. So it's still an undergraduate degree. This isn't at ASU. This is still at this isn't at Arizona State University. This is at ASU London. You choose to study for another year with us, take these additional modules in your 4th year, and get the masters with us. Then we now have we've got some new programs that we've launched. Engineering with Artificial Intelligence launched last year, and as you're probably all aware, that's becoming more and more ubiquitous. But what we're talking about in terms of AI here isn't the large language models that you're probably used to, so ChatGPT, etc. We're talking about machine learning, machine vision, applied artificial intelligence. So how you can harness the power of AI to solve complex engineering problems. So in many engineering problems, you've got streams of data, you've got lots of unknown quantities, you've got a system with many parameters you want to optimize, and AI obviously gives you the tools to do that much more quickly and much more efficiently. So it's engineering with artificial intelligence. So it is, at its heart, it's a general engineering program. About 2/3 to 70% of the program is engineering, and then the remainder is a specialism in artificial intelligence. And it still has that professional backbone that I mentioned on the computer science one. So we also have engineering with mechatronic systems. So this is 70% common with the engineering with artificial intelligence program, but instead of 30% being AI, it is mechatronic systems. So we're talking Internet of Things, we're talking digital manufacturing, we're talking robotics, smart factories, anything to do with future industry. So you may have heard the term Industry 4.0 or 5.0 or 6.0. They keeps going up every time I look at it. But really, it's kind of talking about that next industrial revolution and how systems work together. You've got sensors, you've got automation, you've got connectivity, embedded systems, etc. So this is a real growth area along with the AI. So I know I'm skipping over these, so just to remind you that if you are interested in these, please do go and look at the website. And as I say, there is a paragraph on each of these modules to give you a bit more of a flavour of what's in them in a bit more detail than I'm doing here. So for our electrical and electronic programme, it shares a common first year with the engineering programmes I've just talked about. But in your second year, you will then start to specialise in one of two concentrations. So in this programme, we've got concentrations or pathways, as we did with computer science. And here they're around power systems or communication systems. So as you could see, these are two growth areas. Power systems is around power electronics, energy networks, renewable energy, advanced power electronics, etc. And communication systems, you can imagine that's big area at the minute. So we're talking communications, antennas, optoelectronics, fields and waves, etc. So anything to do with telecoms or power systems. And again, we've got that professional backbone throughout it. And we're not going to go through all of these, but combined with all those engineering programs, you can go off and do pretty much anything you want to do. This is not an exhaustive list. There are lots of engineering programs that you could do. And again, just to remind you, bringing it back to the way that we teach, because we're embedding in all of these programs, real engineering problems, real case studies. You're going to be thinking like an engineer from day one. So whichever one of these jobs you decide to go for, you'll hopefully have that mindset by the time you graduate with us. So from those programs, these are the currently, as I say, this is we're still expanding this list. Can then go on and do these following masters at Arizona State University. Same way, it would be a 1 year's masters as opposed to the 2 years, because these bachelor's programs have been aligned with the Arizona State University undergraduate degrees, means you can just do it in 1 year. And there's a choice of 6 specialisms that you can do there depending on which discipline you go down. So I think I went through that bit of a canter. If you've got any questions about the courses, put it in the chat. Again, we've got Melly here to answer it from a student perspective as well. But for now, I'll hand over to Fred to tell us a bit more about Arizona State University.
Thank you, Peter. That was a lot of really good information. So thank you for taking the time to go through all of that. And now I'm here. I'm one of the directors at Arizona State University in the US. And really, why should you consider ASU London and then doing your 4th year, your last year in the US at Arizona State to get your master's degree? As you can see from our screen, we're repeatedly ranked #1 in a lot of different areas, specifically in innovation, sustainability, and global impact. Arizona State is a founding partner of ASU London, and with that, you get to access a lot of different benefits. You're tapped into the Arizona State Network. We have over 800 different degree programs. We have a diverse number of graduate programs that you can select. So it's not only the ones that we've kind of mentioned. If there's something else that you're interested in, you're able to do that. We have over 1 million alumni that you can tap into. So that just really means connections all over the world. Once you start looking for employment, or if you're looking for research, you have a lot of different contacts that are from Arizona State. We have over 180,000 students 14,500 of those are international students. So we do have a lot of students from the US and all over the world that once again, as you're a student, eventually once you graduate, you can tap into that network as well. Since Arizona State University helped develop ASU London programs, it's a smooth transition from ASU London to Arizona State. If you're an American or an international student, I can also help you guide. I can help guide you through the process of applying to ASU London and then talking about your different options that you might have. In the next screen, oh, actually here, in this screen, you're going to see the rankings that we have in different areas. So we're ranked number 3 in the world for connecting our students to employers. So when you're looking about return on investment, you know, what are you going to a university for? Really, it's that end result of having a career, having a job. We're ranked top 10 in getting our tech students hired. This is a sample of the top employers that ASU graduates would have. Once again, this is a little bit more US focused, American focused, but these are companies that you've probably heard of before: Amazon, Intel, Banner Health, Deloitte, Microsoft. We're also ranked number 2 in the US for employability. So going back to return on investment, why are you looking to study at a university? And this is the real reason. We want you to get those jobs. We want you to get that career. We want you to do that research, whatever your interests are. The next slide is going to talk to you a little bit about, you know, a tough subject, I think. It's the finances. How much does it cost? On the left-hand side is the ASU London cost. So everything that you see there is in British pounds. On the right-hand side, it's an example of a comparison of what you would pay at a university in the US. In the US, we have close to 5,000 universities, depending on who you're speaking with, maybe over 5,000. So the tuition and fees vary from institution to institution. So I just kind of selected the Arizona State University cost for you to get an idea of what the US cost would be compared to a UK cost. So you see that on the left side, tuition is 23,600 pounds, accommodation, groceries, everything put together. An estimate is going to be about 38,000 to 43,000 pounds for the year. In US dollars, for those of you from the US, we're talking about 51,000 to 58,000 put together. On the right-hand side, you see US universities example. So we're taking Arizona State on that. And the estimated total per year is about $64,938 US dollars. Remember that ASU London, we're talking about a 3-year bachelor's degree. So you see it on the bottom left. That's an average over 3 years of about 116,000 to 136,000 pounds, or 155,000 to 182,000 US dollars for 3 years. On the right side, all the way at the bottom, you see that the 4-year bachelor's estimated total would be about $259,752. Once again, these are all estimates and exchange rates that we have, you know, currently right now, but that can fluctuate. So if you end up doing this program, you end up saving about 77,000 to 104,000 US dollars with doing the 3-year bachelor's degree instead of a 4-year bachelor's degree. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Lee so that he can tell you exactly everything you need to know about the admission process.
Lovely, thanks for that, Fred. Yeah, hi everyone. Good to have you all joining. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the application process. I recognise some names in the attendees, so I can imagine that some of you have already applied, because if I know your name, that generally means you've made an application. For those of you who perhaps haven't applied yet and are wondering how, there are 2 ways in which you can apply. Firstly, our entry requirements are on our website. They're listed by country, and also for UK students, we have a general kind of entry requirements box with A levels, BTEC, IB, etc. If your country or your qualification is not listed on there, that doesn't mean we don't accept it. It just may be one of the more niche qualifications that we need to look at. So if it's not on there, don't panic. Just ping an email to admissions@asu-london.ac.uk and we'll have a look at it and get back to you as to whether we can accept it or not. You can apply directly via our website. UK students generally apply for a UCAS. unfortunately, if you're a UK student, you can't do both. So don't apply through UCAS with your 5 choices and then apply to us directly. If you're with UCAS, you have to stick with UCAS. If you already have your 5 choices and ASU London isn't one of them, but you'd like to make it one, then you do have to wait until UCAS Extra opens on the 26th of February and make an extra choice then. Or failing that, you may have to potentially wait until till clearing. But if you know that ASU London is the only place for you and you haven't applied via UCAS, come via our website, and the same for international students who haven't applied to us via UCAS. We do have some scholarships available. So for UK students, we'll be sending out emails probably in the next month or two about those. But to give you an idea, they are for students who come from underrepresented groups in higher education, or simply those who are talented, have big ideas, and know how to communicate them. They range from around £1,500 per year of study up to £3,000 per year of study. There is an international scholarship as well, which I will talk about in, I think, in the next slide. And there, also, just to say, there is support available. So if you need any help with your application, as a US student, you are more than welcome to get in touch with Fred at Arizona State, or you can reach out to us directly, admissions@asu-london.ac.uk, and we'll guide you through. We'll kind of give you as much advice as we possibly can to help you make a good application. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is our international scholarship for students. So our inaugural global scholarship. This gives you up to £4,750 per year of study. If you have this on your offer letter, then if you have an offer and it's on your offer letter, then that's good. If you don't have it on your offer letter, then do please let us know, and we will send you out a new offer letter. We do need to send out new offer letters for these applicants anyway, but some of you may have the original amount, which was just 10%, but we've upped it now to 4,750, which works out at 20.1% exactly. So to do that, you have to apply to us by the 2nd of March 2026 to be considered a priority applicant. You then receive your global scholarship with your conditional offer letter. You then have to accept your offer and pay your deposit by the 13th of May 2026. So the key deadlines for that are the 2nd of March, where to apply, the 13th of May to actually accept the offer, and the 21st of September, which is the day one when term starts, which hopefully we would see you here in person. So in order to get that scholarship, all you need to do is apply. There's no special hoops that you need to jump through. It's dealt with automatically, and it will be in your offer letter. Like I said, if you have an offer already and it's not in your offer letter, then please do let us know, and we will send out the amended letter. But yeah, other than that, I think I've covered pretty much everything fairly quickly.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Lee. Just to make sure, the inaugural global scholarship and all that is mentioned on this slide is for international students. So that is not the deadline and everything for domestic students. So your process is fairly different. And now we're open to questions. We do have a couple on the chat. Let me...
Yeah, there's one question there from Michael. Michael, I've got your application here. I'll reply to you in the chat because I don't want to air your application in front of everyone who's listening. So yeah, I'll just reply in the chat.
Yep. David, if you'd like to unmute yourself, feel free to ask us a question.
Yeah, thank you. I'm interested in the school, but I had a question based off, I saw in the computer science there was a lot of specialization options. I was wondering if there were the same specialization options for engineering with AI. Like if you're able to specialize in a part of AI and also specialize in a part of engineering.
So if I understand your question correctly, David, are you saying that can you take the same specializations that are available on the computer science program if you're doing the engineering with AI program? Is that right?
Sort of. I was interested in specializing in cybersecurity if I was doing engineering with AI, but then I was wondering if you were doing engineering with AI, the engineering part, would you be able to specify in, let's say, aeronautics engineering in like your third year, or specialize in products engineering, things along those lines?
Yeah. There is on the engineering with AI and the engineering with mechatronic systems, there is no options or electives on those programs because the idea being you've already sort of chosen your elective set or your option set by enrolling on one of those programs, if that makes sense, because general engineering with those specialisms, AI or mechatronic systems, so they're almost like being pre-selected. But that said, if you look at those programs, they do have a common first year and a common second year. So if you enrolled on one of them and you wanted to switch to the other, that's always a possibility. But computer science is structured differently because obviously it is more specialist, not more specialist, but more focused on computer science than the engineering programs are. So to take some of the third year cybersecurity modules, having done one of the engineering programs, might be a bit too much of an ask. So I don't think that would be possible. But there are obviously cybersecurity and AI modules on the engineering programs that you could take. Does that answer your question, David?
Yeah, that works. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have Annette. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If you'd like to unmute yourself and just ask the question.
Thank you. I have two, if that's all right. The first one is, as an international student, am I able to work during my time at ASU London?
I can answer that. At the moment, no. So as a young institution, we have to have, well, any UK university has to have a license with the UK Visa and Immigration Service, which is run by the government, to be allowed to bring international students in on a visa. Because we're a young institution, we're still in very early period of that, and until certainly September this year at the very earliest, students are not allowed to work, but we cannot guarantee that even throughout your studies you would be able to work. So for the time being, we are saying no paid employment is allowed, and that probably will continue throughout your time with us.
Okay, thank you. I understand.
Right.
And then my second question there is that per some of the websites, it says that GI Bill is accepted. And my question is, what's the process now to, like, who would I work with to apply those benefits to my tuition?
Sorry, could you say that again?
My question is, like, per the GI Bill website and the ASU
Yes.
London website, it said that my GI Bill would be accepted. But my question is, what? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so only for global design engineering, because the GI Bill is per course rather than per institution. At the moment, we only have it set up for global design engineering. We are looking at getting it set up for the other courses, but I'm not sure how long that takes.
Okay, would you can I ask, do you think it would be in the 3 years that I would end up studying?
In the 3 years, yes.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for that. Looking at a couple of other questions. So we do have one around student transfer from ASU London to ASU, including credits and financials. Would Lee or Fred be able to answer that?
Well, I can answer it from an academic
Yeah.
perspective, and then maybe Lee answers it from a finance.
Yeah.
We've talked about the close relationship between Arizona State University and ASU London, but I'll just remind you we are two separate institutes. So that question would be the same as if you transferred from ASU London to another university in Germany or in the UK or anywhere else. So we have the advantage that some of the programs I've talked about have been mapped, closely aligned with undergraduate courses at Arizona State University, but we don't have, they've been mapped, so they'd kind of go through their mapping exercise and see what they've done here and map it there. But you couldn't, for example, do your first 2 years at ASU London, go to Arizona State University, do your final year there, and get an ASU London degree. If that's what the question was, if that makes sense. But you could obviously transfer there, and I think academically your credit would be recognised there, but that would be up to Arizona State University to agree that, not us, if that makes sense. Is that, Fred, does that make sense to you as well?
Yeah, I think because you're right, the curriculum is being taught in modules at ASU London, and then the curriculum at Arizona State is classes, not modules. So right now it's not a one-to-one, so we wouldn't have students, we wouldn't be able to have students transfer. You can restart the program, or at this point, let's say that you're doing a year already at ASU London. Well, you only have 2 more years left to go, so hopefully, it could be something they can hang in there. If not, we can try to work on something for you, but it's not a easy process if you're looking to transfer. If you're finishing your 3-year degree at ASU London, then that would be a seamless process.
All right. Thank you both. That was insightful. We do have a question around navigating housing and meals and how do students do that. So at the moment, we don't have what you call halls or dorms here, but we do have a recommendation of accommodation providers on our website, and I can share that link with you as well on the chat. And our student hub, basically our student services team, they look at providing you information about accommodation as well, and they can guide you through that process. Anyone wants to add anything to that answer of mine? All good? Great. And we have a question about the integrated masters for global design engineering. Do we get the chance to have a placement year or a year abroad?
So we don't currently offer a placement year. I know a lot of other UK universities and institutions do, and typically the placement year is for you to go and get that industrial experience. But as you've heard me say throughout the talk, we've very strongly embedded that in our curriculum. So we don't actually offer a separate placement year. Which would normally be spent in industry to get the skills, because we feel that you're getting that through the program. And then the year abroad, or the study abroad, that's actually part of the third year. So when you're doing the project, the individual project, you do have the opportunity to do that project in the UK at ASU London, at Arizona State University, also currently at University of New South Wales. But it is still our module. You're just doing the project in a different location, and it's not a whole year, it's about 20 weeks.
Thank you, Peter. And anybody would like to have any student experience questions?
There's a hand up.
We have a hand up, sorry. If you'd like to unmute yourself and just ask the question, you're more than welcome to do that.
Same thing. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which degree would you say is best for aerospace engineering?
Oh, aerospace. Probably the closest one would be one of the engineering with AI mechatronic systems. But if you want to get into aerospace, there's a lot of fluid dynamics in there. And our courses are more general engineering. You can obviously do your project around that. We do have students that have done some of their projects around that as well. But out of all of them, it would be the engineering with AI, the engineering mechatronic systems, I'd say.
Thank you, Peter. And Melly, can we ask you a couple of questions around your student experience here at ASU London so far?
Sure, yeah. I'm happy to
Yeah. So if you
do
just
so.
want to tell us about maybe your favorite project that you've done so far, and what is it that actually made you choose ASU London?
Sure. So, I'll start off with what made me wanted to choose ASU London. So, I wanted to go into design engineering. So, I was looking up courses around that. So, I was looking at London-based universities. And then I came across ASU London. And when I came down to the open days and joined the online sessions, I really fell in love with the hands-on learning approach, how ASU London uses industry partners within the project, so it makes it feel a lot more closer to real-world problems. So I like that. The community was quite close knit. Everyone knows each other. Everyone supports each other. And then the academics are quite good as well. Anytime if I need help, I can get help from them anytime. Message them. They'll be happy to help. So I felt that like the experience itself was quite unique compared to a more traditional university. So I think that's what made me want to choose here. For ASU London, we're not just a number, we're an actual student, we're visible to everyone, so that's quite nice. So I can show my work off and be proud of that. Um, Regarding favorite projects so far, I think one of the projects I really liked was one called Living Labs in my global design engineering program in my second year towards the end. That was quite a cool project because we worked with an industry partner to create sensory-based toys and objects. We worked with an actual company and we spoke with them regularly to get feedback. And then at the end, the company was happy to take that forward. So we got a cash grant to be able to develop the project further. So ASU London definitely prepares us to be able to start our own startups as well, to do our own businesses, to go off into industry and into different roles. So yeah, definitely, I think the projects prepare us for that, and they will build on all our skills throughout the years.
Thank you for that. Um, and we just have a question around the curriculum being online. So it's basically, is any part of the curriculum online or is it wholly in the classroom?
So I can take that, Anushka. I think what that online, so I'll just start by saying that the program is in person. Okay, so you will need to come to campus. But what we use in terms of our pedagogy is we use what's called a flipped classroom model. So there is online learning that you will need to do before you come to the classroom, and Melly can probably talk a little bit about this because it sometimes takes a little bit of getting used to, but then once the students see it, they can understand the benefits. So the idea is that you do some online learning, you do a lot of the, you know, heavy lifting and the hard yards before you come into the classroom. Then when you come into the classroom, you actually got a reasonable um, knowledge of the subject, so that because that contact time that you're going to have with your academics and with your professors is really valuable time, and you want to be going deeper into the subject and being able to ask more interesting questions about it rather than just sort of going in cold and trying to learn it from scratch and then walking away and thinking, oh, I wish I'd asked that question. So that's what the online learning is referring to. But Melly, perhaps you want to expand on that from you've been through it as a
Yeah,
student.
yeah, sure. So obviously when we talk about ASU London, we talk about the hands-on learning project approach. And then obviously when we talk about the online learning, that may seem a bit odd, but it actually is a lot more straightforward and simpler when you look at it. So we would, depending if you have lessons in the afternoon or in the morning, you may go over your online learning material and then join your lessons later on. Or after lessons, you might be looking at your online learning material for the next day. It's structured in a way where you can take it take it slowly, take it fast, depending the pace you want to take it upon. So that's entirely up to you. You can take notes, you can watch the videos, go through the material. It's quite self-paced. And then also we're not just thrown any learning material just for the sake of being given to us. With the learning material, it relates to exactly what is being taught in that module, and relates exactly with the project that we're doing. So you're able to contextualize and understand it a lot better. And then obviously, if you do need any help with that, we do have access to our maths tutors, our personal tutors, our academics, which we can always message. And then like content that is maybe a bit more harder to learn, or needs a lot more academic input, then that stuff we do have tutorial sessions on campus where academics will go around and help us out, and we'll apply that learning into actual context. So it does save a lot more time, and it is a lot more efficient doing that method.
Yeah. And that content is given to you a week in advance. So exactly as Melly says, because we understand students, if you can work, may have a part-time role, may have care responsibilities. And so say all the online material that you need for the following week is up the week in advance that you can do it. And I just seen a question from Christian talking about how much time would you say is online versus class. So again, Melly, you can probably give a more informed answer. I'm going to give you the academic answer, and then you can obviously talk about it from your experience. So typically you will have 6 hours contact time per module per term, and you do 2 of them, so it's 12 hours per week per semester. So that's a contact time that you have. But in the UK, the credit system we have is relatively simple to understand the time. So if it's a 30 credit module, you just put a 0 on the end. So a 30 credit module is 300 hours worth of learning that you're expected to do to be successful. Obviously, some of that's the contact time, some of that's self-study, some of that is preparing your coursework and working in your group. So it's split over a range of activities, but that's the kind of general expectations in terms of the contact time you have versus the amount of learning you need to do for the module. But Melly, you can say what it's really like from that.
Yeah, like I agree with that. Like whatever, like what Peter's mentioned, that is the case. So it is split across many different parts. With the online learning material, if I'm meant to spend an hour on something, if I've understood the concept quickly, I might spend half an hour on it. If I want to learn it in more detail, I might spend 2 or 3 hours on it. So again, it's self-paced. It depends on how well I go through it and how much I want to get through. But as Peter mentioned as well, that is split across group work. Also, developing ourselves, self-development, the course content, in person, online, split across all of that. But it's definitely doable as long as you keep up with all the tasks and you're organized with everything. You shouldn't be pressured over the workload, hopefully.
Thank you for that, Ali. And we have a question around apprenticeships. So we do not offer apprenticeships. We are a higher education provider, so we offer undergraduate degrees. But like Peter's mentioned, the way that it's structured is you do get a lot of professional expertise and learning throughout the programs. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, that's an accident.
That's okay. So we do have a lot of professional training that our students go throughout the 3 years that they study with us. So with an apprenticeship, you're generally stuck with one employer. Here you have the opportunity of choice, where you can go and work with various industry partners for various modules.
And I
Anyway.
think, Jaden, if you're referring to degree apprenticeships, because obviously you can study those at HE institutes, Unfortunately, we don't offer those at this time.
Thank you for that, Peter. And this recording will be sent to you via email as well. Any company examples of student projects?
That's it's just one of those things you put on your spot. Can't remember. Most of the companies our students work with tend to be kind of small, medium enterprises that are within the area. And the great advantage of working with small, medium enterprises, or SMEs as we call them, is that when the student goes to them, they're actually sort of a bigger cog in a smaller machine, if you know that phrase, so that they get exposed to a lot more activities because they're part of a smaller institute, so they really do get good experience from it. But some of our students have gone off to work for some larger institutes. So I know one of our students went and did their project with the Royal Engineers, who's part of our armed forces. They maintain and supply equipment for them. So that's an example.
I remember Brompton as well, just because the folding bikes.
Yeah. Sorry, thank you, Lee. I think you were going to say so. Yeah, Brompton folding bikes we also have as well. And we've also this year we've got some companies working for some large dairy manufacturers. So they're having some problems with some of their heat treatment plants for their cheese manufacture. So our students have gone off there that looking at some AI companies for global who do AI analysis for the sports sector.
Thank you for that, Peter. So we conclude our session with that. I have popped in our email addresses on the chat for our hello inbox and our admissions inbox. So if you think of anything later, feel free to just pop an email and we'll be more than happy to answer any of that. But thank you everybody for joining us today. And this recording will be available to you shortly. So either tomorrow or early next week, you should have a copy of this as well. And we look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you for joining us today. Thanks. Thank you to the panel as well. Thank you.
Enjoy your evening.